Hebrews chapter 9. Eke menun kai her prote di kai omata latreas tote hagion kosmikon. Therefore indeed also the first covenant was having righteous regulations of worship, and also the worldly sanctuary. Skirner gargateskeuaster, for a tabernacle was prepared. Her broder, the first tabernacle, and her de Luknia, in which was both the lampstand, kai her trapeza, and the table, kai her protesis, ton arton, and the presentation of the bread, her dislegetai, hagia, which is being called holy place, metadeto, deuteron, katapetasmas, gerdner, herlegomene, hagia, hagion. But behind the second veil, a tabernacle, the one being called holy place of holy places. Chrysoon ekusa tumiaterion, having a golden altar of incense. Gaitern giboton thirst diaturgus, and the ark of the covenant. Berike galumenen pantoten chrysioi, having been covered around in every part with gold. En hei stamnos crucer ecusato manna, in which was the golden jar having the manna. Kai her rabdos Aharon, and the staff of Aharon, her blaster sasa, the one having budded. Kai hyplakes diaturgus, and the tablets of the covenant. Hyperano de autes cherubin, doxus, but above it, cherubim of glory, kataskiadzonta to hilasterion, overshadowing the atonement cover. Berihon u kestin nun legen katameros, about which things it is not now to be speaking according to detail. Tuton de hutos kateskeuasmenon, but of these things thus having been prepared, es mentern broten skirnen diapantos esiasin hoihieres, das latreas epiteluntes. Indeed, into the first tabernacle, through all times, the priests are entering, accomplishing the sacred services. Estetern deuteran hapax tu eniau tu monos, but into the second tabernacle, once only in the year. Ho archiereus, the high priest, u choris haimatos, not without blood. Ho prospere hyperheau tu kaiton tu lau agnoematon, which he is offering on behalf of himself and on behalf of the sins of ignorance of the people. Tu to deluntos, tu pneumatos, tu hagiu merpo bepanerostai, den ton hagion hodon. Etites protes genes ecuses stasin. Of the Holy Spirit, signifying this, not yet the way of the holy places has been manifest, yet the first tabernacle having a standing. Hörtis parabole eston kairon ton enester kota, which is a symbol or parable or figure into the time having stood, which means present. Gaturn dorate kai tusiai prosperontai, according to which both gifts and sacrifices are being offered. Me dynamena kata synede sin teleosai ton latreuonta. Gifts and sacrifices not being able, according to conscience, to make the worshipper perfect. Monon epi bromasin kai pomasin kai diaporois baptismois dikaiomata sarkos mekrikairu diorotoseos epikemena. Only upon foods and drinks and various washings, righteous statutes of flesh, concerning flesh, until a time of reformation being imposed. Christos de paragenomenos archiareus ton genomenon agaton diates medzonos kai teleoteras genes u keropoietu tu testin u tautes tes ktiseos. But anointed, having appeared a high priest of the coming good things, through the greater and more perfect tabernacle, not made of hands, that is, not of this creation. Ude dihaimatos dragon kai moskon, not through blood of goats and calves, dia de tu idiu haimatos, but through his own blood. Eserten epapax esta hagia. He entered once for all into the holy places. Ionian lutrosin heuramenos, having obtained Ionic redemption. Egar to haima dragon kai tauron, kai spodos damaleos, rantitsus satus kekoenomenus hagiadze, prostern te sarkos kataroteta. For if the blood of goats and of bulls and ashes of a heifer, sprinkling the one having been defiled, is sanctifying toward the purification of flesh, of the flesh, posai malon to haima tu Christu. How much more rather the blood of the anointed. Hostia pneumatos aioniu heauton prosernenken amomon toi teoi Gatarietön synedersin hermon apod necron ergon esto latreuen theoi zonti. Who, through Holy Spirit, offered himself unblemished to the God. It shall purify our conscience from dead works into the serving of a living God. Gaidia tuto, and because of this, diaturcus gainus mesitus estin, he is a mediator of a new covenant. Hopos thanatu genomenu is apolutrosin ton epitei protei diaturcei parabaseon. So that, a death having taken place for the redemption from the transgressions under the first covenant, den evangelian labosin hoikeklemenoi, des aioniu kleronomias. The ones having been called might receive the promise of the Ionic inheritance. Hopu gardiaturke, tanaton ananke perestai, tu diatemenu. For where there is a covenant of a will, that is, it is necessary to establish the death of the one having covenanted. Diaturker epi necrois bebaia, for a covenant of a will, that is, upon deaths is affirmed. Epe me pote isque hote zei hodiatemenos, since it is not in force when the one covenanting is living. Hoten ude herprote choris haimatos enkekainistai. Wherefore, neither the first covenant was inaugurated without blood. Laleteses garbases entoles kataton nomon hypomouseos pantitoi laoi. For of every command having been spoken according to the law by Moshe to all the people, labon to haima ton moskon gaiton dragon, having taken the blood of calves and of the goats, metahudatos with the water, gai eriu kokinu, and scarlet wool, gai husopu, and hyssop, autote to biblion kai pantaton laon erantisen. Both it, the book, and all the people he sprinkled. Legon, saying, tuto to haima, tes diaturcus. This is the blood of the covenant. Hers enetelato proshumas hoteos, which the God commanded toward you. gaitern skernernde. And the tabernacle also, gai pantata skeuertes liturgias, and all the vessels of the service, toi haimati homoios erantisen, were he sprinkled by means of the blood likewise. Gais kedon en haimati panta kataridzetai, and almost everything by means of blood is being purified, kataton nomon, according to the law. Gai choris haematekusias uginetai apesis, and without bloodshedding, forgiveness or remission is not becoming. Ananka un tamen hypodegmata ton en tois uranois tu tois kataridzestai auta deta epurania gretosin tusiais paratautas. Therefore, indeed, it was necessary for the representations of the things in the skies by these things to be being purified, but the skyly things themselves with better sacrifices than these. Ugar es keropoieta eserten hagia Christos, for not into holy places made by hands anointed entered. Antitupa ton alertinon, copies of the true holy places. Al esauton ton uranon, but into the sky itself. Nun empanisternae, toi prosopoi tu seu hyperhermon. Now to appear before the face of the God on behalf of us. Udina polakis prosperei heauton, neither so that repeatedly he might be offering himself, hosper ho archiareus eserketai esta hagia gateniauton en haimati allotrioi. Just as the high priest is entering into the holy places according to year by means of the blood of another. Epe ede auton polakis paten apokatopolus kosmu. Since it would be being necessary for him repeatedly to suffer from the foundation of the world. Nuni de hapax episynteleai ton aionon esatetesin tes hamartias diates tusias autu bepanerotai. But now, once for all, upon the consummation of the eons, for the putting away of the sin through the sacrifice of himself, he hath been revealed. Kai gatoson apoketai tois anthropois hapax apotanen, meta de tuto grisin, and according as much as it is being laid for the men once to die, but after this a judgment. Hutos kai ho Christos, so also the anointed, hapax prosenectes, esto polon, anenenken hamartias, once having been offered for the bearing of the sins of the many. Ek deuteru choris hamartias optersetai toisauton apek decomenois esoterian. Out of a second time, without sin, he shall appear to the ones awaiting him for salvation.